Understanding your SureTake podcast recording files. So once you are done recording an episode, whether it's just you or you've had some guests, once everybody's uploads have finished in the room and the files have subsequently processed a short time later, you're going to see something like this on your dashboard. And if you're a studio owner or you're looking at a share page, it's going to look pretty similar to this. Some minor differences, but close to this. So let's run through what we've got here. First of all, this part here is going to show you the podcast name. So if you have multiple shows in your account, you're always going to know what actual podcast or show this came from. Right here, you'll see the title of the episode. Mine was just called 5. So if you call it an episode number, or if you name it after the guest or the topic you were talking about, that title would show here. So you know exactly what episode and what show this is from. Your notes section here that you can make in the actual studio during the podcast recording with the markers and such. Those notes will appear here. And this is a little important right here, this notification indicator. This means that someone has been notified about this episode already. So in most cases, a studio. And if you wanted to alter the notes now, which you can do, the studio won't actually know about it because the notification was already sent. We've also got the date and time of the session here and how many tracks that you should have. This play button will open a page which is essentially the share page, but it's more meant for you to preview the recording. And in that case, you'll be able to see the combined backup, which is a single file that shows everybody and everything that happened in that session in sync. So you might want to look at that to make timestamp notes or check something. And the share, of course, if you click that, it will copy a share link, which you can then send to whoever you like, however you like, and they'll access a page that looks a lot like this with the video preview player and be able to download the files. Okay, so let's take a look at the files that we've got in our list here now. So every session, even if it's just a solo recording, is going to have a combined backup. This is recording from start to finish. It will capture everything that happens, whether someone drops off or comes in late. This is a great reference because it's always going to be a start to finish sync of exactly what happened. So if you need to try to sync files of late joining people, you can do that with the combined backup. But it's also just that, a backup. If anything goes wrong with any of the high quality files, which we'll get to in a moment, you've always got this. So at the very least, you haven't lost your podcast. So long as you are all online and actually having a conversation, the combined backup will save you. It's not as high of a quality, but it is something to prevent you from losing the recording altogether. So you won't normally need that, but if you want to have it for some reason, like gathering timestamps because it's a single combined file. You know, if you're just preparing some things for your editor, you don't want to combine all the 5 individual files. You just want to work off the combined backup. So you can download that, you can preview it from the play button, and also based off the combined backup is the transcript. So you can get a full transcript for the entire recording with this button here that comes from the combined backup. Okay, so if you want that, just click that button. Next thing to know is the individual files. So this session, as we mentioned, had 5 different people in here. And so we've got 5 lines that look very similar. Here would be the name of each person, very creative, as you can see. And then across from that, we've got the formats that we would want to download. So if you're looking to do video podcasting, you just need the video files. Typically, you're only going to need these MP4 files. So you're just going to have to click each one and they will download. The MP4 synced is a repaired type of file, typically for if there were connection issues or someone came in late. If we get the synced version of the file that dropped or the person that came in late, it will add extra time to the beginning of that file to make sure that the editor just drops them in his program and they all line up and are ready to go. So that's a backup thing that you might need sometimes if there was some strange thing going on, but most of the time you won't need that. You can also just get audio only if you need it. So there's MP3 and WAV formats here. I usually recommend WAV just to keep higher quality throughout the editing process, but you do have the option. And finally, you've got a small missing a file button down here that can help you in a pinch if there's something wrong and you're not seeing a file that's supposed to be here. In that case, your first order of business is to open the recovery page or send the link to your guest. Depends on who had the issue. If it's a file that belonged to you, like your host file that's missing, you can open it yourself. If it's a guest file that's missing, send them to this link. You or them are going to want to open this link in the exact same browser on the same computer that you did the podcast recording on, and it's going to check to see if there are any remaining files stored in that browser? And if so, it's going to upload them, then process them, and they should show up here in your files list after about a half an hour. That's a pretty safe number. If it didn't detect anything, well, that indicates a further problem, and you may have lost that recording. But as I mentioned, you've always got the combined backup. And you also should have a copy of the track that is, at the very least, most of the high quality recording that got uploaded during the session. That will happen in the background. If their local copy in their browser gets lost or damaged, then you may have lost a little bit, but you should have most of it. But this is just a last resort, another troubleshooting step to help make sure that you always get your recordings that you need. And if you do need assistance with something, if you have a message of a file being stuck or something's just not working right, you can copy the session ID here and click the Contact Us button in the lower right. Let us know what's going on, and we'll do our best to help you. SureTake is designed with reliability in mind. We've implemented everything possible to help ensure that your recordings are always safe. And why do we need to strive for that so much? Well, it's because everything out there on the internet is unpredictable. Okay, you can control your computer, but even still, you can't control your internet connection. Something might crash. If you're working with guests, well, who knows what kind of computer they even have. They might be on flaky Wi-Fi. There are so many things that can go wrong to screw it up, no matter how great we built the platform. We are trying to make sure that we have covered every possible situation and make things as recoverable as possible. But as I said, worst case scenario, you should always have that combined backup. So at the very least, if everything else went wrong, you've got something and you didn't lose the recording. That's the ultimate goal. That's the thing that we're trying to avoid, is lost recordings. So that's everything you need to know about your files in SureTake. I think the delete button is pretty self-explanatory. And you've also got an indicator here of when the files actually expire. It depends on your plan. By default, if you're on a paid plan, you've got at least a year before those files clear out of your account automatically.